when guys are just like angry, I say that they're choking on the red pill. Like they've swallowed it to an extent, but it's like here and it's like you got to keep swallowing it. And it's going to take some time to digest it and to actually integrate that into your worldview in a healthy, effective, sustainable way.
Firstly, I wanted us, because we've talked, quite a bit about personality disorders, what to look out for, some of the awful effects that this can have in your life. How does a man navigate this whilst not becoming completely paranoid and so hardcore red pill that, because I already know there's going to be some comments with guys like, yeah, all women have got personality disorders and better off going MGTOW and paying prostitutes, that kind of thing. I'm sure we'll get a couple of those comments. Most of my guys are not like that, but some are. So how is it that you can navigate with both not being completely naive and being a pushover and being tricked and having your life turned upside down by someone who is ill in some kind of way, whilst at the same time not becoming, a woman hating, paranoid person that can't trust anybody and is always thinking that the worst is going to happen, because obviously that can lead to manifesting that kind of thing as well. If you go into interactions with women thinking that they're all liars and evil and manipulative and they've all got personality disorders, then you're going to not come across very sexy, that's for sure.
Well, you're also very ambivalent, because if you truly believe that through and through, why are you approaching women? I mean, that man needs to resolve his own
Well,
inner
often they
division,
don't
because
actually.
he's still attracted. He still wants to approach. He still wants something, but he has this conscious belief about these women. And so those two things are contradictory. And you're right, he's not going to have a lot of success. And that's probably for the best, because I'm not sure if he's in a position to have a kind of healthy, fulfilling relationship with a woman. Now, I made an episode about the red pill a long time ago, and one of the things that I discuss is like, it takes a while to really understand some of these things about intersexual dynamics, evolutionary psychology, what men and women actually select for, what they do behind closed doors, not what they say publicly. It takes a long time to integrate those understandings and to make peace with them. And so when guys are just like angry, I say that they're choking on the red pill. Like they've swallowed it to an extent, but it's like here and it's like you got to keep swallowing it. And it's going to take some time to digest it and to actually integrate that into your worldview in a healthy, effective, sustainable way. But I don't know if you can just like whoop completely bypass the throat. For some guys the pill gets stuck in their throat for a long time, but sometimes it's a very short time, right? But it does seem like maybe the pendulum does have to swing the other way, and maybe it has to swing to the extent that they might have been like naive and idealistic in their previous life. And I think that one of the dangers is they become paranoid or women hating. Another of the dangers is they become a player. I made an episode about that too. It's like, where do players come from? They were nice guys who were just tired of not getting the girl. And
Guilty.
out of that pain, they were like, if I knew what worked, I would have had it by now. I am now going to let effectiveness and outcomes guide my behavior, as opposed to some ideology that I'm going to impose on women and reality. And they become behavioral psychologists of female sexuality. And you can get really good at understanding probabilistically how women are going to respond to certain prompts. And you can fall down that hole for a while. And I think that there's good things and bad things about that. Like I think it's very useful for men to know what women actually respond to, and to have sort of the knowledge that they could make something happen if they needed/wanted to. But I've also seen guys get just like locked in the habit of pickup. Like they don't even know what they want a woman for anymore, but they're just like, I got to have options, got to keep fucking, and that's a trap too. So this is a labyrinth, and there's lots of ways that men can get lost, and only a few different ways out, right? So, but the alternative is to potentially stay naive, and and to just keep hoping against hope that the same old behaviors are going to have different results,
Yeah.
which I don't think is reasonable.
No, and tends to lead to bitterness, basically, which that's the most common thing I see with nice guys
Well,
who won't change is that they feel like the world has stolen something from them, that they've
well,
tried
what
so
is
hard and they haven't gotten what they deserve.
bitterness, James? It's a variety of anger, right?
Mm,
And there's there's a few different organic pathways to anger, and one of the organic pathways to anger is that you are obstructed in a personally relevant goal. That's like what frustration means literally. It's like I want something and I can't get it, right? And so you have to understand that anger is like a public confession of your own ineffectiveness. When you become angry, you're basically communicating to everyone around you, I can't get what I want. I don't know how to do it. I feel impotent right now. Like I want it. I can't surrender the desire, but I also don't have the skills to achieve it. So
mm,
it's a bad look. Anger is always a bad look because you're just like telegraphing your own impotence and ineffectiveness. But like, okay, maybe you'll get less angry once you become more effective. And I find that to be the case, for a lot of guys.
yeah.
Like when once you finally find a way around that obstacle and you get what you want, this is nice. That's satisfaction.
It's really interesting. I never heard anger kind of phrased in that way. And it makes me think it's interesting how men are taught, like in pretty much every unrealistic action movie, suddenly the hero gets a boost of anger at the end. Like, and anger is the superpower, and that somehow makes him more effective. It's like he was getting beaten down, but then he just gets a bit angry, and then that suddenly is way better at shooting his Uzis or whatever. I think, yeah, men have this probably, let's say, immature understanding of what this emotion is good for and what it's not for. It's
Well,
like a
I did.
spice, right? Which can be used just delicately at certain points in your life to act with clarity and decisiveness and get something done or defend yourself or whatever. But for the most part, it is really an impotent feeling.
I agree with that. I made a video a while back called The Force of Revenge. So this isn't quite the same thing as anger. It's a more chronic, protracted sentiment. But I think I don't know a single very successful man who doesn't or didn't have at one point a chip on his shoulder because little Susie didn't say yes to him to go to the dance or because he was humiliated on stage. I'm not saying that's you, but it's like there's something that it's like I'm going to show them, whether it's my parents or the girls in high school or the guys on the football team who mocked me for being small and weak. It's like I'm going to become so successful and powerful that they're going to understand how wrong they were. And I'm going to have my revenge on the people who invalidated me, who mocked me, who disrespected me. And that is a fucking powerful fuel. Like the force of revenge is actually, it will burn long enough and hot enough to achieve escape velocity. Like you can actually leave the planet on revenge. The issue is the longer you rely on that force, especially after you're in orbit, the more pathetic you appear. Like you don't want to be a 60-year-old guy who's still trying to get back at dad who's been dead in the ground for the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like little Susie hasn't thought about you in 5 decades, dude. It's like, let it go. So it's good to get out of Earth's gravitational field, but I do think that people need to find another compelling fuel to motivate them to the stars. And I don't think revenge can do that, but it
No.
can certainly get people off the ground.
Yeah, and that brings back to that kind of pendulum metaphor of it's that at certain points in your life, yeah, maybe you need a type of fuel, which is maybe it's kind of immature, but in the long run, it's going to be pathetic, but it is something that gets you moving. Because I mean, I know for myself, for sure, my early motivations in getting good at pickup was that I was a total nerd and dork in high school and didn't get the girls and had that chip on my shoulder, absolutely without question. And it did get me moving. It got me quite successful, but it certainly burnt out at some point where I had to then reconsider. Okay, why am I still doing this? What is this actually serving me anymore? Am I doing it for reasons of trying to prove myself out of ego, and saw that, yes, that was the case, and then had to adapt and shift into a different, more mature masculine motivation.
It's been enormously helpful in my life. I think the periods of most accelerated self-growth have been for me after a heartbreak.
Mm.
And I think at some level initially it was, I'm going to make my ex regret leaving me. And I'm going to
Yeah.
become so much better that they're going to see what they missed out on, kind of a thing. And I grew and changed and leveled up, and I met someone even a better fit for me. And I, don't harbor that kind of fantasy in my imagination anymore.
Good day, gents. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and stay tuned for the full interview with Dr. Orion Taraban coming out next Sunday. Now, if you'd like to get your dating life sorted this coming year, 2025, then you should consider joining me and my world-class team for one of our live workshops. Budapest in April is sold out, but we have some spots left on the May dates in Lisbon, my new hometown, which I'm very much looking forward to rolling around the streets with a select group of gentlemen learning the fine art and science of natural style seduction. So if you'd like to find out all about that, click the link in the description, get on a call with us, have a chat, see if we're the right fit for you and you're the right fit for us. And if not, we'll see you next week. James Marshall signing out. Peace.